tonight's main topic, like I said, we're going to do an album homework assignment. I gave Tyler the new Ghost album, Impera.
Yep.
So hopefully listen to that one and not like a different Ghost album.
I didn't. I listened to the new EP. That was the newest release.
Oh, the covers?
Yeah. So I have
I'll talk
a
about
lot of feelings. Got a lot of feelings about that. Not so much this Impera gimmick. I don't know anything about that, but the cover EP, I got that down pat, so we can keep going deep.
I mean, it pissed off Paul Di'Anno, so whatever you gotta say.
As it should. Okay, as it should. I'm in Paul's camp. Actually, that's what I was thinking. We're gonna steer this. I'm actually fighting for Paul here, and truthfully, as you know, I've been campaigning for Paul Di'Anno to go back to Maiden for years, probably since '96 or so. I just thought that'd be a nice transition back into Di'Anno years right there. I was really upset with that first Blaze record, so I want Paul back.
I don't.
Pretty sure that timeline works out, by the way.
It's close. It's pretty close. I don't. I don't think at this stage in their career with a wheelchair-bound frontman would be the best choice of action. No offense, Paul. But
sorry.
I feel like
sorry to our impaired people that we have. We have many legions of fans there. So if you're disabled, we apologize. That probably you're not going to be the lead singer of Iron Maiden.
One of my worst nightmares if Bruce is like, "Hey, I'm retiring," and then Steve's like, "Well, we're keeping going."
Well, they want to do that.
One of my worst nightmares. It's one of my worst nightmares. What do you mean?
I thought that Bruce was down to pick his replacement.
I don't think I ever read that ever. That's anything like Bruce Dickinson would ever say.
That's I think that was from
it's one of the biggest egos on the planet. So
I think that was from the deity himself, one Mr. Eddie Trunk, possibly, or surrounding gimmicks of people of his. Yeah, the deity, the Sir Eddie Trunk.
I don't think that was true. Anyways, and you gave me brand new. The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me. So this was a fun one. I kind of regretted my choice the minute I started listening to this record.
Okay.
Why?
I thought you regretted it last weekend when you're like, well, you're giving me an all-timer. I thought I should give you an all-timer. Then you did not give me an all-timer. You gave me the album that's on your mind right now.
Well, there's an I didn't want to give you potentially, I guess it might be in my top 10 of all time, but there's a band that I loved, doesn't exist anymore, that I feel pairs really well with like some of the lyrical concepts and some of the production that's on this brand new album. That's Hurt. Like, I think Volume 1, and we'll get into it, some of the things that I liked on it, but a lot of that, like, it clicked with me pretty quickly because of that.
Okay. Nice.
Kind of around the same time frame too. I think Volume 1 came out 05. So it came out 06.
Yeah.
So yeah. Different because Hurt's like a heavier, more hard rock oriented band. But the production on it reminded me a lot. The drum sound, a lot of Jay's lyrics, kind of line up sort of the way Jesse wrote some shit on this record, at least my interpretation of stuff. My very cursory listen. Obviously I'm going to preface it to any brand new fans ever watch this. Like, I've listened to this record like 6 times all the way through in the last 5 nights.
Wow.
So I understand like people have had this record for 10 years and have dove into it and just dissected every lyric and pre and post stuff that might have happened and did happen or whatever. And I understand that there's a lot of baggage. So I'm coming at this
a lot of prefacing.
I'm coming at this from a very different perspective.
For sure.
But how do you want to do this? What do you want? You want to talk about the brand new album first, or you want to talk about Ghost? I don't care. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, let's talk about brand new first. Let's do that first, and then we'll do Tempura.
Okay. Do you want to do it like a question, or you just want me to? Because I took some notes.
Okay.
Copious amounts of notes.
Okay, so I was going to set the stage a little bit. So this record.
Okay, go ahead.
So anyway, so 2006 rolls around. So end of 06, Brand New put out the Deja record back in 2003, was to rave reviews. A bunch of the emo kids loved it. And then they went back in the studio after a year of touring that, whatever, right? So 05, leading into 06, they were recording stuff. And then randomly, someone downloaded some stuff from one of the peer file sharing sites, the LimeWire sites or whatever, right? So they started passing around demos, the leaked demos from 2006. And so once these got on the internet, people were obsessed with them because these rule. And they got obsessed with them. And then Brand New was like, I don't like that. And they got mad that people got to hold the record. And they're like, all right, well, scrap those and let's write new songs. And so they did that. And so they rewrote the entire record. And they put out in 2006, November of 2006, I want to say it is. They put out The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me. And for me personally, I bought it day of at Walmart. Shout out. Nice. That Walmart is not Winco Foods, so sucks, but whatever. Anyway, so sorry. So anyway, so got Devil and God. This is I told Ty, like, this is an all-timer for me. Like, this could be number 1 on my favorite albums of all time list any given day. So like, it was really heavy to get this to somebody, but like, I also thought about, like, because of that personal baggage of mine, but also I thought about this. I was kind of because I listened to both records today.
Okay.
And so I listened prior before that too. I did it right. I mean, me in person.
I didn't say anything.
I know I could read your mind there. I knew what you were saying. So anyway,
sure.
So I was thinking about it when I was listening to the Devil and God. I was like, man, I wish I could hear this all over again for the first time. I envy that dude that he's never heard this record before, and he got his first time out. He test drove the car, and I am curious to hear what your initial impressions are. What you like, what you dislike, whatever you want to do, man. Give me your Fantano.
All right. So I've been knowing you so long. I've been Brand New adjacent for so long. Like, I know a lot of the cursory history stuff that happened. I know the hype. I know the stuff about lyrics and, the cryptic stuff and, them not doing interviews and appearances and stuff like that. I know about, the feuds and shit like that. I know their influence and taking bands out, Manchester and Kevin Devine and stuff like that. So I've been so adjacent with that for so long that I don't want to say I had a preconceived notion, because I do know Sick Transit. I do know that song quite well. Yeah. Shout out Josh Brown. I know Josh likes that record. I know Josh likes Deja quite a bit.
Hell yeah.
I think it still comes up on the iPod shuffle sometimes the shop. And I remember that video on Fuse. Mm-hmm. So there's that very little bit of baggage. Okay. So when I went into this, I was expecting something different. That's not a bad thing, but I had a sound in my mind. Plus, I know about their pop punk emo stuff. Like, I know that's kind of what it is. That's what I kind of was expecting. I don't know if I was expecting, like, I don't know, not like AFI, because I know what they sound like, and I know what. Maybe, I guess. I don't know. But even I don't even know much about, maybe, I guess. But again, those bands, I only know cursory shit.
Sure.
So this is never my scene at all. Ever. Yeah. It was always into metal, always into more extreme stuff, and then classic rock. Like, that's been my thing basically my entire life. And then country and stuff too. So yeah, that was never my scene. I didn't listen to a lot of topical music when we were in school. Like, the music that I listened to that was new was all new metal. Yeah. N-E-W, not N-U. But like new stuff, like Mastodon.
Like Killswitch, Mastodon, all that stuff.
Killswitch, like those bands that were coming up at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So a lot of metalcore, I guess that was the closest thing that I listened to that was, like, trendy, I guess. Like Killswitch, Trivium, I guess. So you got to preface that. So I went into this expecting a certain sound and got something really different, which is nice. It was pleasant. Yeah. I think this is a great record, like from start to finish. I listened to it the first time, and I'm going to preface with too, because I do know some songs on here.
Okay.
I don't know if it's from you or what, but it's fun. I have this weird thing in the back of my head when I heard Jesus Christ, when I heard that song, or Jesus or whatever. Again, I saw people arguing in the subreddit about song titles, and I'm like, I don't want to do any of this. So whatever. I'm gonna read the song titles. I'm gonna read the song titles as they appeared on streaming, not as they appeared may or may not have appeared on the back of albums or CDs.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just Jesus on the CD. But anyway, Jesus Christ on streaming. I listened to this on Cubase. So I listened to
Jesus Christ.
Gotcha. So yes. Somebody was talking about I was reading a thread about the lyrics of that song. And then somebody said, well, if this is your favorite song, you would have got the song name right. And they post, it's not Jesus Christ, just Jesus. It's like, dear Lord. This wasn't that old of a thread either. No. Anyway, this is like within the last 10 years. Anyways, so I heard that song and I'm like, I know this song, and I don't know if I knew it from you. But then I looked and I saw that they performed that song on some late night shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm like, did I see this when I was a kid? Because I have that weird thing in my head and I can't prove it because I don't like specifically. I just have a weird memory of that song in that setting.
Okay.
So did they play Conan? Was that?
Yeah.
Or was it Letterman? Because I watched Conan. Like, that's what I watched. Okay. All right, so like if it was anywhere else, I don't know if I saw it. I might have like flipping through the channels. So I do have some preconceived notions of songs that I've heard. What was the other one that I swear to you, I've seen them perform that song on that. I swear to you, when I was a kid, that was like 06, whatever. That's like freshman or going into that was sophomore year, I guess.
Yeah.
I just have that memory in there. But anyway, and I feel like maybe DeGosser. Is that how you pronounce it?
DeGosser, yeah.
DeGosser. Maybe that song I've heard before too. So there was some stuff like, oh, okay, this kind of rings a bell. But I really like it start to finish. I think it's a pretty easy listen too. It's kind of it's nearing an hour.
It flows really well.
It flows really well. I like the track placement of everything. And even though it's really dark lyrically, and some parts get pretty heavy, it's an easy listen. You don't like feel tired by the end. It's like y'all listen. That's why I listened to it so many times, because like this is pretty easy. So I listened to it quite a few times without the lyrics, and then I went back a couple times and actually read through with lyrics, because I know obviously that's a big thing in that for that band. So, and for Jesse specifically. But the first things I noticed, like I love the production. It's a great production. I was not expecting that. Because in my mind, when I go into like 06, I go, okay, everything's going to be slammed as high as possible. It's a CD. We're just going to brick wall it.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a really, really good production. Everybody shines on it. You get audible bass, really good guitar. Yeah. It's a really good sounding record. Still holds up today. I would love a high res. Because it's not on Cubase. No. Is there a high res of it? Okay.
No, it's not. No.
There's a high res of science fiction that's on Cubase. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I would love a high res if they ever went back to it and did like a 20-year remaster in a few years.
That'd be cool.
That would be really cool because I think it would really shine.
Yeah.
Love the guitar tone. Absolutely love it. It's almost bluesy in some points. And the production on the guitar tone, it reminds me a lot of that. Like there's first couple Hurt records. I think that's why I connected with it really well too. Obviously too, lyrically, Hurt's very heavy and it's very like the way Jay wrote stuff. It's like very up to interpretation and stuff too.
Yeah.
So that's why it was mainly the first catch.
Yeah.
I wrote down, it's easy to see how this was like head and shoulders above everybody else. I don't even need to listen to those records because I already have a sound in my head. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe I have a preconceived notion of some of the other bands that were adjacent. But like, it's very easy to see how this was the best of the best.
So I actually, not to interrupt you, but I actually did that today. So I was like, I was like, what band was like in, because like while MCR existed and like they were very, very big in 2006, like they weren't necessarily brand new adjacent, right? So Take Back Sunday was the next band. So I went back to Louder Now, which actually came out just before Devil and God, but that's Taking Back Sunday is like really experimental, really this, really that, and it's a different record because that's the record that Fred Mascherino, their new guitarist at that point, wrote entirely. So the first one, they let him do everything and they want to run it. And most successful record. Shout out Fred. Anyway, but I was listening to that and I was like, I love Louder Now too. I like it a lot. I don't love every song, but I did like damn near 90% of it. To compare that in the same year, the same era, everything else, to compare that to Devil and God is like comparing like steak to Skittles. Like it's just so crazy, like what the difference is in production, in the songwriting, in like the experimental weird stuff that like they did the instrumentals that they did on there with like the voicemails, the talking, like all that stuff, and like the overall themes and everything else. Like even just the Space Cadet pull, or not Space Cadet. What am I talking? That's Deja. But with the instrumental at the end, like just having all of that repeat over and over and over again, just it's perfect. It's so weird and it's so perfect for that time. And they just were thinking bigger picture.
Yeah, 100%. And like it's funny because I was reading through the wiki and stuff too, and like they've got quotes from all the other guys in the scene, like Kevin Devine, like it's like he says it's the dark side of the moon, like of that scene, and like that's the lofty claim, but I understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
And then what? There's a quote in here from Jeff Rickley, lead singer of Thursday, how they were working on a record, and at the same time, and then he listened to that and realized we thought we did like the best thing we've ever done, and then realized we hadn't done anything.
Interesting.
So kind of got similar vibes to that quote of like Brian Wilson, you know, listening to
with Rubber Soul,
Rubber Soul or whatever, and then that influenced him to do Pet Sounds. But anyway, so it's funny that people in the scene even recognize it for sure. It sounds 90s at times. I get a lot of Nirvana.
Yeah,
for sure. But it also sounds like it could have came out then, but it sounds like it come out today. Like I wouldn't be shocked if somebody released that record today. I'd be shocked that it's produced so well. But I wouldn't be shocked like if these sounds were coming out today. It's still very relevant and fresh, I think.
I think he was doing a lot of like, so after the record came out, like I was obsessed with Jesse and Brandy before this, but like this threw me over the moon about everything. So I just knew that Jesse was listening to a lot of Archers of Loaf, and I started listening to them, and the Jesus Lizard, listened to them for like 2 records, and I was like, I want to get into all this stuff, and like it didn't hit the same way, whatever, but it was fine. I think Replacements were on that list too, and I think like Texas is the Reason too. Like I just remember his playlist, and I was like, I need to listen to these bands. I'm gonna download all their shit, and then I did, and then I liked some and didn't discard others.
Okay.
But that sound is exactly what he was going for. Like that roundabout, the 90s. It's totally real. Yeah.
As far as Jesse goes, I like his voice. I like his voice. It sounds different in different songs. I found him like very chameleon like. I don't think he's like a great, like, oh, this guy's technically proficient and hitting every note and wow.
The instrument.
But yeah, I'm saying as far as fitting into the theme and the mood of the songs, he's perfect.
Yeah.
That whatever tone was needed for that, like I definitely nailed. Like definitely an obviously talented dude. Really good fragility to his voice. Like it feels like it's sometimes like it's the whole thing's just gonna break down entirely. Like because really like that's really good fragility. That's the best way I could put it there.
Yeah.
I guess we could get into like some of my standouts here. This is gonna sound weird. I like Handcuffs a ton.
Okay. Yep.
I know that's weird because it's not a Jesse song.
It's not. It's a song.
Yeah, because I went into that subreddit dive too. Because a lot of people were bagging on people who like that song, and I'm like, I really like that song. I love the strings in it. No, go ahead.
No, what's funny about that though is that a lot of the record is written by Vin. it's just not totally attributed to Vin, because that debate,
Okay.
because when Jesse did his first interview talking about the record way back when, Jesse was like, well, we have a lot more like coming in. I was just bringing all the songs in, doing this and doing that. And now like Vin's writing a ton on this record. And, he's, you don't, things you might be are me or him and all this other stuff. Right. So he was putting Vin over, and people were worried like,
Okay.
you have Vin writing on this record. He's not the songwriter. He's not the guy. He's not the lyricist. What's going on? That was a major thing back in the day, man. It's still probably today,
Gotcha.
I guess, people are still saying that shit. So yeah.
I really love the production on the song. I think the strings are really good. That's why I think I drew myself to that song, because that song is the song that reminds me of Hurt the most, because obviously Hurt has a lot of strings with Jay playing the violin.
Yeah.
And the production on it's great. It builds and builds and builds and peaks, and it's haunting. It's a really good build. And like I said, I love the strings. I think it stuck with me because I wasn't expecting it. Like, it kind of stands out on the album.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything else, it's like, okay, I understand it. And then Handcuffs is just, it's kind of at the end, and it is at the end. It feels tacked on, but
it's the most different sounding song on the entire record for sure.
Yeah. So I did like it. I gravitated to more of the slower songs. I think Jesus Christ is probably my like 1B.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that song too. Really good production on that song. Lyrically too, really, really interesting, because he's questioning a lot of things in his upbringing and faith and stuff like that, but it doesn't sound like he's putting anything down. It's just more like questioning.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate. Because it's not the easy way out, like, to write that. The easy way out to write that is like, I fucking hate this. I hate the way, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's more of like just questioning things, which I appreciated.
Yeah, it's a deconstruction record for your faith and for like your relationships with people growing up, and coming to terms with stuff with yourself. And like a lot of the records about Jesse himself too, like in terms of like the drinking and drive, like the sewing season, all that stuff. Like Jesse was an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. Jesse drank a shitload, like all that stuff, like throwing your life away. It's about himself as much as it's about anybody else. Like it was a very interesting time for that dude forever.
What else? DeGalliser, I really like that.
Yeah.
It was a good song. Pretty heavy song too. Luca, I really enjoyed.
I was going to ask you how you liked that.
The Godfather song too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I listened to the demo version too. I didn't like the demo version as much.
Okay, nice. Okay, yeah. No, the build up and the delivery and everything else, like that's the first time I heard that, I remember I jumped. I remember jumping. I was like, oh shit. Like it was that was different, man. This is different. Yeah.
Archers, I really liked Archers too. I thought that was a cool song. That's probably my favorite, like heavy, fast song, I guess. Yeah, so I guess like those 5 with Handcuffs. I really like the whole thing though. I was listening to the record a little bit before we got on. Millstone's a really cool song. Just a little bit periphery stuff. Like I think like Limousine, that's the song for fans, right?
Are you guessing at this?
No, like it's that you know more than I. But just the periphery, the perusing of the subreddit, it seemed like favorite songs or whatever, or like they would do like favorite song votes on the albums. It seemed like Limousine was winning like every time.
Interesting. I honestly would never think like that. I would think DeGosser would win in a landslide.
Oh, okay.
That's how I would judge it if I was making a judgment call over the brand new fan base, which I don't count myself among really, even at shows, because brand new fans are the worst. But I was a super fan, or I am a super fan, so whatever. But I have to deal with you people. But you're the worst anyway. But I would guess they're DeGosser and Not the Sun, and
that's a good one too. Yeah.
Sewing Season, I think, will probably be up there too.
Okay.
First single. I can see Handcuffs too, because I think people like Handcuffs a lot because it is so different. I think people appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know. Limousine though, I think because there's a lot of lore behind Limousine, because it's like a true-ish story and stuff, whatever. Yeah. So like I remember when Jesse started talking about that, I had literally downloaded the interviews from England. And I downloaded the session with the interview, whatever, to hear him talk about Limousine and the origin story of that. And I remember just sitting there and like, oh man, like this is crazy. I was in Skinner's class actually. I was in Miss Skinner's class sophomore year doing that. Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's it's about that little girl who died or whatever in the car accident, got hit by a drunk driver. They were coming home from like a wedding or something. And the way he writes it, it's written from different perspectives of people like that were involved in the crash. It's an interesting song. I honestly think it's the weakest production on the song because I think it loses a lot of the dynamic. Because some of the heavy parts, it becomes too
manic,
claustrophobic for me.
Okay.
Which is, I know that sounds weird listening, coming from a person who loves like death metal and black metal and stuff like that. But like I just felt like I'm losing the dynamic, and I got so used to hearing that. So that song does have ebbs and flows, but like when it gets heavy, it just kind of sounds messy.
Yeah.
I understand that. I understand that's maybe the intention because of the subject matter.
Yeah.
But that'd probably be like my only nitpick. Welcome to Bangkok was kind of forgettable.
It's a cool instrumental though. I like it.
Yeah. And then the Untitled is just that little instrumental too.
Yeah.
So there's that little bit of stuff. What's the lore on the voicemail?
I don't think there's anything really on that necessarily. Like I as far as I know, I've never really thought about it like that heavily, which is funny to think about. But I don't think there's anything that we know about with it personally.
Isn't there two? Isn't there one at the end of? Is it Limousine?
Untitled,
or is it?
It's Untitled. That's the second one, and the first one's on.
But whoever is on. That's what I said. Who's ever on the end of that is like, can you play that again for me or something? Like I was trying to, I kept trying to re-listen to it because I'm like, there's got to be some lore here, right? Like there's got to be something. So I thought you'd be able to tell me, but I don't know.
Nothing more than I know. I've never heard about it really. I just know that I think it was just random shit they put on there because this was in production for so long that they just like started fucking around with stuff for better or worse, and put weird stuff on there. And I think that just kind of went on. But yeah,
gotcha. Great record though, man. I gave it a 9 out of 10. There's
nice.
I couldn't give it a 10 out of 10. Like I'm a pretty hard grader when it comes to that. But liked it so much.
Over here.
Picked up the CD.
Nice shit. Okay, so look on that CD. Look in the back.
All right.
And then see if they offer you if there's an offer for $1 on there to send for the lyrics.
Oh, to get the lyrics.
Yeah, is that on there?
On the back of the case here.
Back of the case, yeah, it should be on back.
No, so this must be like a later.
Yeah. So basically, just to finish up that bit, because Devil and God is absolutely ridiculous thing in general for fandoms or for the fandom. So like, they put on the back of the CD. Because they did not include lyrics in the CD, which lyrics are a big deal for the band and for the fans, right? So a bunch of people sent in the $1 on the envelope for lyrics, and I went and saw Jesse and Kevin solo. So it was 2006 that record came out. I think I saw them in 2008, so 2 years later, and I saw them acoustic at the Brick House, which no longer exists, and they one of the questions was like, hey, what's going on with our lyric sheets, because we never got them. We sent the $1 a couple of years ago and never got them. And then Jesse said, oh, I mean, we have an entire desk filled with these stacks, with these envelopes and dollars in them. We'll get them out eventually. We'll get them out. So he kind of played it off a little bit. So fast forward to about 2000 and I don't know, 14, 15 or so. Because another thing with brand new is they don't do anything. They don't announce anything ever. They just kind of pop on. And so people started getting in the mail, started getting the lyric sheets and like another little insert kind of thing and a sticker maybe. And like, I think also you got a demo CD with a song on it, I want to say is what happened. And so this is what the lyric sheet looked like though. Pagaya 3. And so they're 000. It's not 3. It's 000, and it's just a lyric book filled with the lyrics, obviously, of the song, because they never included these lyrics. So for years and years and years, I would see nothing but incorrect lyrics online, because even before this, they included this, another huge deal, included a lyric sheet in the vinyl. So like that was a little bit later when they actually released this, but this came out before they started sending those envelopes out there. So and that was almost 10 years later when they finally did that. And yeah, it was just an absolutely insane thing there, because obviously the lyrics for fans for this band are a real big deal. I actually got in a fight with a girl on MySpace once about the lyrics. And I had to she's like, how do you know the lyrics are then? And I was like, because I have the vinyl, so what up? And she was like,
that's funny.
Why do you have to be like that? And then she stopped talking to me.
Yeah. Wiki says April 2015.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah,
that's when they actually began sending out the lyric books. So
yeah,
that's funny.
Insanities. Just effing crazy. But I'm proud that you bought the CD. You have it a part of your life now. Maybe you want to pop it on every so often. Maybe you'll buy the record if we see it again, man. It's gonna be dope. I'm glad that you have that in your life. That is, that's awesome, man.
It does still have that in here. It's in the liner notes. It's not on the back.
Oh shit. Okay.
You're not gonna be able to read it, but it says please send one.
There you go. I never did
it. Hilarious.
So I never got that. I have friends that got them, but I never got any. So I had to buy that later at the show.
I wonder who owns that PO box now.
Unsure, but they probably do get a couple dollars from that every so often.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah. F&A. Love it.
I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it. I'll definitely. I wish I had listened to it on Spotify, because I listened to it so much it'd probably show up in my end of year list. But I didn't, because I if I'm gonna listen to something all the way through, I just go to Cubas now. So
yeah, I think I was kind of not mad, but I was kind of bummed out that I gave you Devil and God, not Deja, first to do a brand new, because while I love Your Favorite Weapon, the first record, I love that record. It's just a pop punk. It's a better written pop punk record, but it's just a pop punk record. But Deja, I think they have a perfect transition. I think they're a band that the progression was very evident. Because at Deja, they were almost a completely different sound than what Your Favorite Weapon was. And then obviously by Devil and God, they were a completely different band than what most of Deja was. So you could see that progression there. And then that's how all the records really went, honestly. So anyway, they're one of those bands. But yeah, happy to hear you liked it. And F&A, girl. That's good. So love it.
Yeah. No, it was fun. It's good listen.
All right. So on that note, keep going.
Let's change it up quite a bit.
Yes.
Now I can kind of spin this. I got into Ghost at the very beginning. So Ghost has been in my life for a long time. Similar amount of records as Brand New at this point. I think the same amount of records. Yeah. So I feel like they came into my life later than Brand New came into yours, a few years. Yeah. But still, I think I kind of spin that as Ghost has meant a lot to me for that long. So I can kind of spin it and connect them that way in my own head.
Okay.
So I gave you Ghost Brand New. It was 2022 that this came out.
The last record.
It's Impera. Oh, yeah. This is the Zia Records exclusive, the Blue Smoke. Limited to 1,000. It's a cool copy. There's a big book on here. It's cool artwork.
Always.
Oh, yeah. They always do a good job. So
yeah, it's one of the glossiest, craziest artworks I've seen in a long while. And I've looked at it at the Zia when we go quite a bit.
And I'll preface this too, when I got into Ghost, it was almost immediately when Opus Eponymous came out, because I remember seeing people talk about on the Metal Archives forums about this band playing Maryland Death Fest. Oh, it's this mysterious weird band played Maryland Death Fest, and I don't think anything was really leaked at that point. And then I remember Opus Eponymous came out either that was right before or right after. It was all around the same time frame. And I I remember like immediately, like, I got to check this out because they were so hyped. Like, what's going on? And I remember listening to it and being like, this is strange. Like, it's like Blue Oyster Cult, or it's like Blue Oyster Cult kind of King Diamond-ish without the riffing, and just being like, who's in this band? And nobody knew, and people had hints, and it was so fun, very kind of cryptic in a different way. Just like Brand New, but in a different way where like nobody knew what was going on. And you know, they wouldn't do interviews, and so that's how I got into Ghost. I've been there since the beginning. I've loved every record in different ways. They've all been in different phases of my life. This record came out, I think we knew that Anna was pregnant. So like that's kind of the record. I think it was like right around the same time, maybe a little after. When was the actual month? March 11th, 2022. It would have been right around, yeah. It was like right then.
Yeah.
So, and Ghost is one of those few bands, not few, but we have more in common now, that my wife and I both bonded over instantaneously, basically. Yeah. So I've seen them multiple times. So yeah, still love them, and they still are controversial, and people don't like them, people hate them, but people love them. They're kind of a love them or hate them band, I think, for most people in like the hard rock or metal world. So anyways, that's my whole build up. Go ahead.
So why do they hate them though? Do they hate them because they're so popular, or they hate them because their sound? Like why?
I think a little bit of both, because they've gotten so big. I think because their sound doesn't match their image, whatever that's supposed to mean. Their sound changed drastically. You listen to Opus Eponymous to this record, it's way different.
Very different.
So I think a lot of people dislike that, and just because they're so big, and kids call them girls and kids call them metal, and when you call a band metal, that's not metal. That's the worst thing you could do. So
yeah,
you know, people take this shit too seriously. So
I mean, they wrote metal. They wrote the first two records are like metal, right? Like pretty metal.
Yeah, I mean, I just call them hard rock. Like they're hard rock records. Like I think all these records are pretty hard rock records.
Yeah.
You know.
I also just remember way back when we did our first incarnation of this, there was rumors, we talked about it, and there was like rumors of who was in the band, like you just said. And I remember Hetfield, that day that we shot that, Hetfield was like, well, Hetfield put him over in an interview. So like people were saying that Het might be involved some way. I don't know, maybe on a label or something. I'm not sure. Like
I remember he wore one of their shirts at like a festival or something.
There you go. Yeah.
I think that part of it, I think that's why a lot of people turned on him too, because some, like, you know, the veteran big bands of the scene started talking about him and shit too. So yeah, it's all just BS.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Anyways, their newest release came out March 11th, 2022. That's what Tyler listened to.
Yeah.
Tyler, give me your thoughts. I love this record. I'm gonna preface. I think it's one of the best productions in a long time.
Yeah.
So just give me your thoughts.
I mean, I'd echo that a bit. I mean, obviously, I haven't listened to a ton of new things this year or whatever, but I'd echo that. Like, it's very well done. It's very polished, but I don't feel like I'm saying that in like the negative, like it takes the life out of it way. It's just everything. It just sounds very pretty. It sounds like it's supposed to sound like everything. It's a very pretty record. It's a very poppy record. Obviously, I've not been with Ghost. Like we've seen them together twice, I think, right? And so I know those first two records. I don't know them obviously by heart or anything, but I know the sound, and I know the basic, you know, the ins and outs of what those records sound like. And they've definitely evolved the sound, because even back then, like you said, it wasn't necessarily metal, but hard rock or whatever. They still have a hard rock edge to them, but it's very, very clean at this point. And it's very like grandiose. Soaring guitars all over it and just sweeping all over the tracks, and the back and forth production, just the stereo sounds or whatever, right? Just that sounds the bouncing back and forth. I liked that a lot. The effects, it's I didn't know what to expect from it, like really at all. I know we've talked about what their sound has changed into, but I still didn't really have necessarily like a total context to that. So starting it off with the instrumental track leading you into the record and Imperium, then leads you into Kassarian, which is the
Mm-hmm.
hook and chorus of the song, which is like something you sing about. It's very weird that's a weird thing to sing, Kassarian. I don't know. I didn't look
Yeah,
deeper beyond just the lyrics of the song. I did not go into whatever the story. I guess I did look a little bit, but it's about the build and fall of empires and like everything else, and how the worlds come and go, basically, along with other interspliced stories therein. But it's a very story concept recordy, but not totally. Like it's the same vibes, but not like start to finish story.
Yeah. Apparently, I never even knew it. This record takes place after like 4,000 years after the previous record, and like I never even knew they were supposed to be connected. But I didn't know we were getting that deep with it. But
you're real not cool with this lore, my friend. So why don't you fucking be better with your fandom?
I guess.
But no, I liked it a lot. There's apparently this is the first time he brought in other writers too, like total third party outside writers. That's what I kind of got the vibe of, right? And I don't know, like because I like it. I do like it. Like when I looked at the credits for it, because I still wanted to see like who was on what song, even if I didn't really know at the time like what they were, like who that person was. And a lot of it's attributed to the outside writers and also just the nameless ghouls. So like we're still just doing like no one knows anything, but it's still Tobias, right? He's still the kingmaker here, right? Like it's still, whatever. Because that was also the thing I was going to ask you is like, is it confirmed that Tobias is singing every record? Is that a thing? Like that's a real thing? Like,
that's what we assume.
Because I know that he like back in the day, especially. I know he was like he didn't shit. It wasn't shit talking, but it was like when people starting pushing like about the changes and stuff. And he's like, and then I think he might have even said like, you don't even know the same fucking guy singing. It's a new fucking guy under the mask. So whatever.
I highly doubt it. The voice has remained pretty much the same.
Yeah, it's very robotic on this record.
So.
Is that not the same way it's been all the time, or what?
No, yeah, you do make a point. No, that is different. Maybe that's why, because it's got that steampunk.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Vibe to it. So maybe they went that like for a reason. I love the drums on this record. Like
the bass,
the intro,
and drums,
the bass, the bass and drums, Call Me Little Sunshine, that was a single. It was a pretty big single, got a lot of radio play. Like that intro is pretty booming.
Yes.
And then my first exposure to this in here was Hunter's Moon from Halloween. It was in Halloween.
Yeah.
So there's the
very
single.
Cool.
It's a really cool song too, and it actually has the lyrics in it, and they even kind of tie in with Halloween. Because they talk about like his sister's gravestone and stuff like that, and so yeah, there even is some like Halloweenish themes the film franchise. So, what other thoughts?
I feel like there's some callbacks. Like I wish I would I feel like there's some callbacks to like other well-known. Like All You Need Is Love is a line from one of the songs that was like, is that a Beatles, like whatever, is it a Beatles reference? Probably. Possibly, I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Like, whatever. And then also for the intro of, hold on, let me see. Just trying to look at this real quick. It sounds like what does it sound like? Hold on. Not Hunter's Moon. No. There we go. It's Cold as Ice. But also Cold as Ice, also the Pokemon theme song. And that's the Spillways.
Yeah, that was another big single. That's the one they redid it with Joe Elliott too.
Yes. I did not listen to that. I know it exists though. Okay.
Pretty cool. I'm hoping they actually do it. They haven't done it physically yet, which sucks because they do everything physical. Because the cover is cool because it's got Ghost in the Ghost font, but it's got the like Hysteria triangle on it. And then it says Spillways in the Def Leppard font. So
you said this to me. Yeah.
When it came out, I hope we get a physical 7-inch of it. Be sick, probably. What did you think of 20s? That's the big controversial.
Here's the thing,
because it's like a musical. Like it's a song that you would hear in like a Disney movie or something.
Totally. No, I'm absolutely, it's absolutely, it's a very sing along, like a play kind of thing, right? And
Mm,
the narration of it and the story that it tells on there, right? Like I can definitely see that being like a steampunk, like a little play thing. I can see that being the deal, right? Um, I liked it a lot. I did like it. The hooks. The thing I noticed here is like, I'm not in a bad way, not in a bad way, but the hooks and the choruses of these songs are not hooks and choruses I've ever like heard before. Like the words that are used to like that are gonna come back around, you're gonna be catchy and shit. Like the
mm.
rhyme schemes, they're very different. They're very weird. Like they all work, but it's like I've never heard a line like that
Well,
before. I've never heard like in the twin. I've never like that's weird. That's a weird thing to kind
yeah.
of like
Well,
bring up.
you gotta think too. Like, is Swedish, so
Yes.
I don't think English is Tobias's first language.
No.
So I would assume it's not. So,
You approach it a different way
um,
then.
plus you're kind of he he obviously loves metal. Like he was in death metal bands and is exposed to that. But he also is a big pop fan. So you have ABBA and
I was
all
gonna
that
say that.
AOR stuff. So he's writing music through like a metal lens, but pop songs.
Yeah.
So like you get kind of awkward phrasing. I always find it endearing, like
Yeah.
because it is different, like you said. So
No, I'm
um,
with it. Also, like I liked how because I understood because when you described it to me, it was like it's like a Hysteria, like a Def Leppard, like hard rock, ABBA record, I think is what you said, but like
mm,
or Blue Oyster Cult or whatever, right? BOC. So like I see exactly what you're talking about. I get that because the vocals are massive on there. There's 15 track
mm,
vocals on basically almost the entire record. So you're just hearing the most full the most full verses you've ever heard. Just going, just going, just going. Every line, it just sounds so good. It's almost like, I mean, yeah, obviously Mutt Lang we're talking about, but like a lot of modern country, just because that's probably the Mutt Lang influence, I assume. I don't know the producers, whatever,
yeah,
have those 19 track vocals, and it just makes things sound so massive.
yeah. Um, Darkness at the Heart of My Love. That's the ballad.
Yeah, I like that a
Um,
lot. I was
I
weighing
really
on
like the
that if that
ballad.
was me my favorite song or not. Because I was like if
Oh,
I say
okay.
that, it's just I just like the ballad. So it's dumb. Like of course like you like the ballad or whatever. Like no, I was like I think
It's a
it's
good
one of my favorite
song.
songs in the record for sure.
It's a really good song. It's really well written.
No, the lyrics
Um,
on it are
Griff,
badass too.
yeah, Griftwood's okay. It's pretty heavy. Gets going, and then Respite on the Spital Fields, the last song. I like that song a lot. A lot of good solos at the end of that
100%.
song.
That's when things start going
Good guitar.
going with the soaring guitars and everything, and it kind of
Mm,
it lands the record. It lands it back down. Like I feel
mm.
like the ending of it, like if we were going crazy in the air at points, or whatever, like bouncing around, and then it just kind of lays you back down, like a in Star Wars or whatever, right? I like that. It was nice, and then the way that it ended there, it was all. It felt like a closure bit. Like it felt like it kind of everything was kind of like brought to a not pleasant, but brought to an end, a proper end.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's under 50 minutes, 46 minutes. So it's a pretty good listen. It's not, it doesn't I don't think it overstays its welcome. So yeah, it sounds like you enjoyed it,
I
most of
did.
it. So
My whole question, I didn't know. So like, how different is this from the last record?
um prequel is from I haven't listened to it in probably a year or so. From what I
Okay.
remember in kind of doing research for this episode, it's even more poppy.
That's what I kind of assumed as much. Yeah.
It 100, I think I'm pretty sure it 100% is. I got to look at the singles on it because I will remember the singles.
Because
Um,
I was gonna ask you if
uh,
this record
oh yeah,
is
yeah,
okay.
yeah. That has that Dance Macabre on there, which is like a disco song.
Okay.
Um, Rats is pretty heavy. That was the first single, but like Dance Macabre's like a disco. Faith is very poppy.
Yeah.
That was the other big single on there. Yeah, there is yeah, they kind of went into a more Tobias went into a more pop approach, and then this went more like AOR, like
Yeah.
80s hard rock, which I thought it would be a good start for it because I know you like Def Leppard, Van Halen,
Yeah.
like those big productions, big drums. Also, like it's very showy, kind of Meatloaf, like
Yes.
over the top
Very much
theatrical.
so.
So I thought it would be
100%.
a good starting point for you. Meliora is pretty heavy. Infesticium that's a pretty heavy record too. It's got Year Zero on there. And then for my money, if we ever do the ranking, the first record's always my favorite, but it might just be because of nostalgia.
Yeah.
I think he did become a better songwriter, especially a pop songwriter, as they went. But that first record has so much nostalgia for me, it'd be tough. But I don't know. Yeah,
do you
go ahead?
Do you think? My question, the reason I asked that is because do you think that this could be a record that officially turns off a certain? I'm sure every record people say I don't like him anymore after this, but I'm sure that happens every record. But do you think this record is so different from the first record that if you're still on board, like you're never going to jump off? Basically, like we've already rid ourselves of you know, whoever. Like this is the make or break. Not make or break, but if you're still here, you're here.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I mean it might get weirder. I don't know. But I'm down with that. Get as weird as you want. I don't care.
100%.
But if you jumped off after the first record, you're never coming back. Like if you've been here since the first record, you're kind of used to it by now. Like it works for me though, because I like a lot of pop songs too. Like I love ABBA. So like you're gonna start changing it up and incorporating some of that. Like it works for me. So yeah, that I mean, I don't know, man. This record, the new record, Impera, went to number 2 in the States. So,
wow.
So they're probably their next record will probably go number 1. I know they're gearing up. They're doing 2 nights at the Forum. Them and Amon Amarth. I think this weekend. So they're one of the biggest bands going, man. I think
Gas Up Fusion. Let's do it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have jumped off, but like I think they've gained so many fans, like it doesn't matter.
They're playing amphitheaters right now. Like we saw them for 300 people. So like they're as I don't know, they might get bigger than this. I don't know. I don't know the future, right? But like they're as big as they're ever going to get probably right now, and probably making even more money than they were making before, because before like they were a big t-shirt band, right? Like so many t-shirts all the time. Not in the negative way. T-shirt band usually I guess means you get t-shirts when they play, but like I meant like the merch band, they're a big merch band. Like they pull in the money there, man. Like their imagery is perfect. I think they're a really well done band. I think they've nailed like the sound that your sister might be able to be into Ghost if she's not into anything else near the edge of that, right? Like your sister might be able to say like, oh, I like that rocky stuff, that heavy, I like Ghost. Like I feel like they might be able to get that casual audience. I'm not saying the Def Leppard 15-year-old girls or whatever. I'm not saying that, but like the girls that want to be a little different, they're all ghosties.
No, they're on their way, for sure. I mean, they had Mary on a Cross was a big song, like a big TikTok song.
Oh wow. Okay.
So that is when they like really, really blew up like a couple years ago. And then I think I mean Mary on a Cross almost has it's 400 million plays. So I think they have 9 million monthly listeners on Spotify. So I think they'll get a number 1 record, the next album that comes out. I think if they got a song on Stranger Things, it's done.
Yeah.
I don't know how it would work because they'd have to like jump in forward in time or something. But I think if they got a song on Stranger Things or something like that, or some popular show, it's done. They're already in that top rung of biggest rock bands in the world right now, because there's not that many of them. Current bands anyway, not legacy acts.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think if they get that, like they're secure their legacy forever. And Tobias just has a license to print money. So
who's bigger than they are? Non-legacy rock bands. Like Greta Van Fleet, they do business. I don't know if they're that big a business. I don't know anymore, but
I don't know. I know they do arenas. I don't think they like fill them, but I know they're big. They're probably right there with them. I mean, Avenged is still kind of big, but they're even in the legacy area.
I was going to say, we're going 25 years deep.
Kind of legacy. I don't know, man. They might be the biggest. I don't know. There's not a lot of new rock bands, so it's the thing. And we'll end this here. I want to get to like if you got a review or a score.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. But my last little bit about it is like the thing that gets you about Ghost is like a lot of the guys who grew up and still only listen to 80s rock don't like it, and most of them actively hate it. Okay. If you grew up to 80s rock, this is what you just listened to is one of the best 80s rock records. I'm saying it didn't come out in the 80s, but I'm saying sound of the last 20 years. It's better than anything Def Leppard has done in 30 plus years. Motley Crue, all the Poison, all the legacy bands that people still love. So like that's my thing. Like it's
an easy transition.
It's fine if you don't like it. Like I'm not saying everybody has to like anything. I just don't understand why they don't even try it, because this is up your alley. Like I don't like it's the same. It's better than anything those legacy bands have done. It is.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know because I know Trunk has thoughts on them, and Trunk's thoughts are basically what you just said before. Like he doesn't like the image, like the. Exactly. Like they're a metal band, but they don't play metal, but they have corpse paint or something similar on. Like that's another part of the gimmick. Like, I don't know. What are you trying to do here?
That's kind of my point. He's confused because like that's Kiss.
Yeah.
Kiss was never heavy.
100%.
It's not a heavy band. They weren't even heavy to their contemporaries. Led Zeppelin is heavier than them. Black Sabbath is 1,000 times heavier than Kiss.
Yes. And the songwriting and the darkness and what have you were much more within those bands than Kiss ever was. Not that we're
so like
don't fucking pull up some weird like obscure weird fucking abortion song that fucking Gene wrote in 1972. So like sorry we didn't know about that one. Okay, apologies.
So yeah, that's my only bit on it. I think they are becoming one of the biggest rock bands of the generation, and potentially, who knows what's going to happen, but we could be looking at if we scheme out rock and roll Hall of Famers. Who knows? Nice. You never know. So
they a lot of folks have to die out apparently before they would ever even get considered. So on that ranking or the voting list. So we'll see.
Yeah.
It's like baseball. It's just waiting for everybody else to die, then we can put A-Rod and Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame. Like just stupid.
100%.
Yeah. No, so I wasn't looking to do a score, but I could do like an 8.6 out of 10. I could do that. Like I really liked it a lot. Like I'll buy it. I'll buy the record. If we find it, it's not $39, I'll buy the record. So like I like it. I have reason to check out the prior release to see like where we're going. Like, because I honestly just know preferably from you the first two records. And then that kind of, I don't really know anything else past that necessarily until now. So like, I'm about it.
I mean, there's only 5, so yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so I only missed a few there. So I liked it. I would buy the record if I found it cheap enough and not $40. I will do that. And so the next time we do this, I gotta give you another. I gotta give you a new record, I guess, right? Because I give you a modern new record, and then you give me a classic. Like we can do that switch off.
Not necessarily. They don't have to link up.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, just something that you would never know. That's why I enjoyed this the most, because I would have never listened to that. I would have never listened to Brand New.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like I think we listen to a lot of music, but we don't. Like everybody still seems to get stuck in their wheelhouses,
Totally.
And their old comfort food and stuff like that. So that's why I really appreciate it, because you discover new shit that you enjoy. And I like still discovering new / old music. So new to me. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed this. We'll do it again. We'll do it again sometime for sure. And so think of picks. Think of picks.
All right.
So
the gargantuan announcement here.
We've come to the end of another episode. So at the end of every episode, we always announce or choose the topic for the next week. And we've been doing a ranking a month. And this one's actually, it'll hit in August. So it works out. We are going to rank Black Sabbath, the studio albums, including Heaven and Hell The Devil You Know.
20 records.
So, yeah, it's 20 albums. I've been working on this for the last couple weeks, so
yeah,
I'm finishing.
You're also on your fourth listen through.
I've listened to them all the way through in chronological, and then I started skipping around.
Okay,
because I'm like, I need to listen to this one again. Stuff that I haven't listened to a ton. Stuff that I like, CDs and stuff that I've recently purchased.
I did see the collection video, my friend. I did watch that. You put your whole collection on there, so I did check it out.
It's done, finally done.
Plus the unboxing. Check her out
until we get the Tony Martin reissues. I've decided that I guess we'll just keep doing the channel until we get the Tony Martin reissues.
But then once we do get them, then we're calling it, and that's what it's all been for. So
that's it.
This is our hunger strike.
So yeah.
We're doing this in the world, once a week for a few hours, and this is our protest.
So next week's going to be a good one. It'll be a long one. Yeah. A lot of listening.
No guests.
So yeah,
Josh Brown. Josh didn't elect it, so sorry. I know our Josh diehards. They are not. Yeah. Josh is not going to be attending.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm doing my my notes now. I honestly. We'll get a little inside baseball, then we'll wrap this up. I had my top 5 pretty much done. It might have, like, maybe number 5 has changed a couple times. Okay. But my top 3 are locked in. And then pretty much top 5. And then pretty much my, like, bottom 5 were locked in.
Okay.
So I knew those almost instantaneously. I just needed to fill out the middle. So right now I'm going back through and actually doing notes. Taking some notes. I'm diving into some of the box sets. And
are you shocked at all?
At mine?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No. I knew what it was gonna be. For sure. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts, because I know there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of records that you don't know, especially the Tony Martin stuff. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, because like that stuff is very near and dear to me. So
I max out at Heaven and Hell, and it's not even all of Heaven and Hell. It's just the 3 songs that I know. So like that's where I'm maxing out at. So I got nothing for anything else post that, and I wasn't even into. I haven't listened to Born Again either. So that's before that record, right? Or no, Born Again's after.
Born Again's after.
Okay, so yeah, so I own Born Again, and I have not gotten into that record. So I do have a wall here, pretty well defined wall at this point. So yeah, anything past 1983.
I would recommend too, because obviously the Tony Martin shit is weird and a lot of it's not on streaming. There is a couple good YouTube rips. Find the ones that are like, I think there's a couple that are 1080.
Okay.
So find that guy that you can listen to. But yeah, guys, that's it. You made it to the end of another episode. Hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below, all that good stuff. If you have any thoughts on the Billboard 50, if you have any thoughts on the records that we reviewed, this might be a little bit more niche episode. I don't know what the broad appeal will be, but it was fun. I don't care. Yeah. So anyways, guys, we'll see you next time. Peace.